I did that stuff. I did an extra string. I got 3 eggs. I got like 62,000. Sounds about right. Oh, man. That tastes so good. It's gonna be
Just to let you, is it possible to get extensions for like Cengage? Because it's kind of to get extensions for Cengage, we just kind of it needs to like yeah. I mean the count stuff like that. You want to make sure that you work in California. I just got it like a couple of days ago. Yeah. On Saturday. Yes, sir. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sign the roster when it comes around, and anyway, I guess everybody's got a book or Cengage or something by now. Johnny up here, I think he was able to go in and Cengage and get the code, but he got the ebook for $20. You do that too?
Yeah, that's what I did.
$120 for the code and for Cengage. One of my nice students, we went into she bought the code in Cengage, and one of the other students took her last night when she went in Cengage. She had the book for a free trial for 2 or 3 weeks. She could use the book, paid $20, she went to keep it for 4 months. So that's probably the best deal we've had, about $20 for both. But still got that. And just looking at her ebook last night, it was irritating. It didn't give the page number. John, did you get the page number?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I figured.
If I tell you to go to page 82, you can go to page 82 right away.
Yeah.
It hurt you couldn't. It just gave a prefix for chapter 3. And then go down and click on the problems. It would have to go through whatever it was to get to one problem. Her didn't have page numbers, maybe inconvenient for her. So maybe it's because hers was on trial, I don't know. So what you pay for is like you pay something. Okay, so we have a test Tuesday. Could show up a lot earlier than you did this morning. I'm here at 8:30 if you want to start the test at 8:30. Well, some folks have class, professor people work some days. The other don't keep you late that day. But anyhow, come early if you want to. Now, I have another class at 11 o'clock. So I don't mind if you stay till 11 o'clock, but you need to be finished by 11 o'clock. Want to come at 8:30 or 9 o'clock? One, I'll give you the test, get you started on it. And class is usually over 15 to 11, but you have until 11. Okay? We'll give you plenty of time for the test. Now, chapter 1, we had the accounting equation. And the only thing on the test, not a whole lot on the test from chapter 1, maybe it's a multiple choice, accounting equation, assets is equal to liabilities plus
owner's equity, which is capital. And you know, if you have one of these, such as assets, if you miss this one on the test, you're in bad shape, I guess. And if assets is 80,000, owner's equity is 20,000. Now, most of you now can plug in what's liabilities. If assets is 80, owner's equity is 20. How much is your liabilities? Has to be 60, don't it? All right, so you'll have counting equation items similar to that. And multiple choice, you'll be asked maybe a couple things about proprietorship or corporation, or if it's a service business, or if it's a manufacturing business, or if it's a retail business, what have you. I think you can recognize those. Then we moved up to chapter 2, which was journal entries. And of course, chapter 1, you have the balance sheet. Let's look at that again. The balance sheet, the income statement, and the capital statement, which is owner's equity. All right. What goes on an income statement? Revenue minus expenses is equal to net income. Now, anybody can remember that. And if you got a bunch of accounts, pick out the expenses. Well, if you had all of them together, you don't want to put down accounts receivable as income. You don't want to put down supplies as income. You want to put down just revenue, don't you? Fees earned, professional fees, whatever it's called, rent revenue, it's just revenue. All right, and then your expenses. They usually have one word after them, expense. So don't mess up on a little old income statement. All right, now you have to have that net income to do your capital statement. Now, what goes on a capital statement?
Capital withdrawals.
All right, your beginning capital plus your net income minus your drawing or withdrawals gives you ending capital. You got to have that ending capital, don't you, to do the balance sheet. All right, so what goes on a balance sheet? What we've been preaching since day one, assets is equal to liabilities plus owner's equity. All right, so put down all of your assets, put down all your liabilities. Now, where do you get the owner's equity from?
Capital statement.
The capital statement, right. That's ending owner's equity, not beginning owner's equity. All right, each one of those statements will probably be about 10 points apiece. That's 30 points of your test. Okay, then we move up to chapter, so that's 30 points from chapter 1, and we had those statements again in chapter 2. Now we moved up to chapter 3, and we had journal entries. All right, plain old journal entries. I'll provide the paper for you for the journal entries or whatever, okay? A couple of people are live streaming this morning. I hope everybody can show up Tuesday. I know there's a couple of conflicts that we'll work out with people who can't, but try to show up Tuesday. If you miss this test on Tuesday, I'll give you a wake-up test of 100 multiple choice. Take the test on Tuesday, take a wake-up test, 100 multiple choice questions. What?
Each one like 4 answers, or do you like some of the other professionals give us A through K?
No, most of them have 4 answers.
Okay.
But you want to take this test Tuesday, it'll be a lot simpler and easier for you. Okay. All right. So I'm just encouraging you to take the test and take it on time. And now, sig gauge. I did call one day. It had to be due on Tuesday, I guess, chapter 1. And
chapter 2 Friday and chapter 3 Tuesday. If you just got a book, I could be a little bit lenient on that. But how many of you have all of chapter 2 finished? All of, most of you, okay. How's your grades going on that chapter? 9.46. All right. And how about chapter 3? Does anybody actually have it finished? How'd you do on it? I follow chapter 3, Justin in. One student last night, she had only done chapter 3 of Justin Entry when he started the chapter. So we started the chapter, we had to do the whole chapter last night. Then do half of chapter 2 and all of chapter 3, and they'll have their test next week too. Okay. Anyway, when they all finally got there, the international students away, I had one young man from Spain, a young lady from Spain, a young man from France, a young lady from Serbia. That's now that all international countries are start the United Nations, so forth. And the class started. But
I think they'll be good students. They have a little bit of trouble with language, a couple of them, but they speak English better than you and I do, as far as that goes, but they don't understand certain terms. Like I said, they ignore something. Young man from Spain didn't know what ignore meant. Okay? Don't pay attention to it. Forget it. Drop it. Whatever. But so they have a language barrier that you all don't have. Okay, chapter 2, let's review a little bit. If we were making journal entries, I'm just going to spout out some items and you're going to try to give me a journal entry for that item. We'll start up here with Alexander. What?
When we do our journal entries on the test, will we just have to do our debit and credit, or will we have to do those and a reason?
You do not have to give an explanation. Okay, on the test. Okay, Alexandra, we paid rent for the month. Give me a journal entry.
Debit, rent expense, and then we pay in cash, credit cash.
All right, probably credit cash if I said paid rent for the month, okay? All right. Earn professional fees for the month, receiving cash, say.
You would debit the cash, and then credit the fees.
All right, you debit cash and credit your fees, earn professional fees, rent revenue, whatever the revenue may be called. It's got a lot of different names. All right. All right, Joshua, the owner invested $50,000 in the business.
Debit cash.
All right, the business debits cash.
Yep.
All right, and credits. Yeah. So one student got confused on that. Well, if I'm taking $50,000 for the business, like I credit cash. I said, well, we're not keeping books for you. We're keeping books for the business. The business receives cash, and the business debits cash and credits revenue. All right, Brian, we paid miscellaneous expense for the month.
So we debit miscellaneous expense and credit card cash.
Credit cash, right? Now, Johnny, you're just brand new owner of a book, but we bought supplies for cash. We think we did it. Yeah, we bought supplies, paid cash. Let him, every supplies and credit cash. Johnny's got a long weekend with that book. Okay. All right, Henry, you were answering that one too. Well, what we bought supplies on credit? Credit cash. Well, bought supplies on credit.
Oh, so you debit supplies, credit, cash.
Right, debit supplies, but we bought supplies on credit. Accounts payable. Debit supplies, credit, accounts payable. All right, when Johnny was buying supplies, he was paying cash, debit supplies, credit, cash. But these are just direct entries that any business would have. You know, they repeat themselves so much that most of them get to the credit. All right, Dylan, the owner took out $5,000 for personal use. All right, debit to withdrawal account, credit cash. Okay. Now try to always write down the debit first and journal in, and then write the credit second. When you're talking about journal entries, try to always say the debit first and credit second. Okay, Margo. We earned some professional fees and we billed our client for those fees. Credit fees earned. And you didn't receive cash, so what would you debit? They owe it to you. Somebody owes you something, you debit? Accounts receivable. Debit accounts receivable, credit fees earned. Okay. All right, Kelly. An easy one for you. It's a compound annual. We bought equipment, 30,000. We paid 10 down. We gave a note for the other 20. Debit equipment short for 30,000. Credit cash for 10. No spell credits. So she's on it. All right. You're getting this, Kelly. All right. Okay, Cole, we just simply paid some wages, paid our employees wages. What would you do?
Debit wages.
Okay, that's all you did, debit wages, okay, the other Alexandra. We received some money for that accounts receivable that Margot just paid. So in other words, we received money from our clients that owed us money.
You would debit cash and credit accounts receivable.
The debit cash or credit accounts receivable. Okay. Some folks want debit cash and credit revenue. Oh, you'll be double counted. Margot credit revenue, which debit account receivable. You got credit revenue, you'll be double counted, wouldn't you? You don't double count. All right, Jacob. We paid off with supplies bought on credit. Paid off the supplies bought on credit.
Debit accounts payable, credit, or credit cash.
Debit accounts payable, credit cash. See, you do that real fast. We do enough of these, you'll get that real fast. Okay. Folks have this. Okay, Robert. All right, we simply, made utility expense.
Okay, so you pay utility expense, you're going to, utility expense, you want to debit utility expense and credit cash?
All you do, maybe utility expense, credit cash. Okay, okay, Harvard, we've covered most of everything, but, we'll pay automobile expenses. There's what? Do the same thing Robert did,
Normal expenses,
right? Credit.
credit, cash.
Right. So some of these are, it's like the other one. Expenses always debit, cash, and credit, if you're paying for it, no matter what's paying, it's expenses. All right, so that's chapter 2, journal entries. Most of them are doing okay with journal entry, okay?
Folks, that's the day. I hope they watched the video and I hope they are ready for the test. Now remember, you got one way out, and that's to count the second test double if you flunk this first test. If you just miss it, we can't find a makeup day for you. Well, I'll just give you 0. We'll count the second test double. But if you want to try this test, I think most of you can do okay on it. Okay? But when I look out at you, I don't see any retards. Okay? So I see C's are better. All right, now to chapter 3, to adjusting entries. We reviewed a little bit. And does anybody know why we make adjusting entries at the end of the month?
Because things change as far as like, your cash flow, income, and things like that, based on like what you got in your expenses and stuff.
Then you gotta adjust your expenses because some of them have been recorded, like depreciation. Or maybe wages that you don't pay on the last day of the accounting period. So what else do we have to adjust besides expenses? We have to adjust what?
Supplies.
All right, supplies, now that will be covered expense. Supplies turns into expenses, prepaid item, prepaid insurance, prepaid rent. Supplies, we can actually say prepaid supplies, but for the prepaid item. That is expenses, we have to adjust. We have to adjust revenue. There's 2 different ways you adjust revenue. One, somebody owes you money, you debit what? A debit account receivable, and credit revenue earned, fees earned. All right, another way you adjust revenue, you've got some in unearned revenue, you've already got your cash for it. Like I said, you pay a lawyer up front. It may take him 3 months to settle your case. I've got some lawyers on a case, it's been 7.5 years. I've got 2 lawyers working on a case. Luckily, I'm not paying any money out for it. They're taking it on a percentage. And the other party's lawyer died. The other party's lawyer quit him one time. We went through 2 or 3 lawyers with, I guess, defendant. And then we finally had a court date set. We were going to court a couple of weeks ago. And one of my lawyers, mother was having, I guess, heart operation on that day. Up it all again, 7.5 years. That poor case has been tried to go to court. All right, but it's costing the other fellow a lot of money. Okay.
You might as well just settle.
The what?
So you might as well just settle.
He should have settled. They should have settled.
It's costing more than probably we gotta pay.
Yeah. What happened, this logger had went on family property and logged illegally and tore up the family property, and we had to take him to court for damages and trespassing and illegally stealing timber. But taking that long. All right, chapter 3. Did I give you any assignments or any problems on chapter 3 that we need to wrap up? All right, we're going to look at some. Now, I know Cengage has some of these adjusting entries on them. Well, in chapter 3, we got to practice adjusting entries. I showed you a prelude to chapter 4 the other day, things that we will or might get to. So let's try to look at chapter 3. I guess I had these already brought up, but Now, all of these little PE problems, every one of them is just a one entry, it's just an entry. Here, we had to bill this money, so we debit accounts receivable, credit fees earned. Same thing here, debit accounts receivable, credit fees earned. Here, we owe salary for 5 days. Okay, but 27.6 represents 6 days, so we owe 5 days. And when they work that other day into another accounting period, we'll pay them that. But we made an adjusted entry for salaries payable, salaries expense. So same thing for the next one.
We, have to show that on the test.
Do what?
We have to show that on the test,
You will have to do adjusted entries.
but like do the 27,600 divided by 6 times 5.
Well, if I told you we had an accrued salary expense of 23, you just make the entry, debit salary expense 23 and credit salaries payable. But if I told you we owed for 3 days and a week's pay was 500, how much is 3 days? 300. So your debit salary expense 300 and credit. So it'd be easy to figure out. All right. And then the unearned rent deal, we know about it. We paid $18,900 for 12 months. All right. End of the year comes, only 7 months have elapsed. So 7 months of that is $11,025. So we earned rent of $11,025 at debit unearned rent. All right. Same thing here. Debit unearned fees and credit fees earned. So fees earned is a revenue. Rent is a revenue. Okay. And somewhere probably right about now, the college has earned all your tuition if it's getting past the day for you to get a refund. Okay. So that'd be tuition earned. And then the insurance expense, and the one you have to be careful with, and we'll look at a problem where it says expired or unexpired. Don't get confused with that. Supplies, on supplies, I could have said, we use $6,847 of supplies. If I said we use $6,845, that's what you debit, supplies expense, and you credit supplies. But if I said we had 2,980 unused, you got to subtract, don't you? 2,980 is unused. Our beginning balance of supplies, and we bought more supplies, so we had 9,000. Trying to figure that out. 9,825, yeah. And we had to subtract supplies on hand. So don't get that confused. This is supplies used. This is supplies unused. And this is insurance expired. All right, that insurance is expired, 15.5. And here we had 4,500 plus 16.6, so that's 21,100 of insurance on hand, prepaid. Now, unexpired is 56. If I give you unexpired, you got to subtract. But if I give you expired, you don't subtract. Then we had depreciation. That's the 5th type of journal entry. We just debit depreciation expense and credit accumulate. That never changes. It's always the same entry. It might be equipment, it might be truck, it might be building, but it's always the same. Debit depreciation expense and credit accumulated. Okay, then at the end of chapter 3, we're going to practice some adjusted entries. Now look at page 148. 148. We didn't do problem 1A in class the other day, did we? We did. All right, we did 1A in class. I believe we did 2A, didn't we? We did 2A in class. So we're gonna still practice more today. Look at page 151. Look at problem 5A. We're gonna do 5A. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I guess. On page 151 is 7 adjusted entries. You see those 5 dots there? So take a plain sheet of paper and let's see how fast we can practice those. Okay, guys. Get the book with you. Okay. Okay, on that first one, on this problem, on that first one, what are we doing? Unexpired insurance, 600. That's what I warned you about. Now, unexpired is 600. Now, you have your unadjusted trial balance there. So when we're talking about insurance, you go over and look for prepaid. How much was your prepaid insurance?
7,200.
You subtract what from that?
200.
All right, there's your amount. Make your entry. 6,800, I guess. Oh, wait, 6,600.
What's the two accounts? What do you
All right, now that one will affect insurance expense and prepaid insurance. So that's why you had to go. Yeah, go over here. Then insurance expense, credit or prepaid.
Maybe a dumb question, but on the test, will the terms be provided for us?
What?
It may be a dumb question, but on the test.
Possible. It's like this. What he asked was the terms applied for, okay? Now, if you have an unadjusted trial balance, that is your account. What he meant, will the accounts be provided for, okay? But they are here in this problem. But if I just gave you a quick entry, like right here, going back to one of these real quick, maybe you have nothing to go to. And I just say, somebody owes you $17,000. If somebody owes you $17,000, you have to thank them, the accounts with it. You have to debit account receivable, and you have credit fees earned. So that's the worst it can be.
Okay, I just don't know if that's supposed to see.
Yeah. I know some of these are more clear if they're written out there. Okay.
So there was one of these here, so better.
So the second, that, aren't you credit supplies and payment supplies expense?
Yeah, you're getting them. Second one should be easy for you all. We've had it over and over and over again.
Yes. Right. Oh, yeah. We just do the same thing. Dividend appreciation, accumulated appreciation.
75,000.
Because on our unadjusted, we'll make okay, we're subtracting again. So our credit balance should be.
A few examples on the board that we did the other day. Let me bring this on down a minute. There's a few that we did the other day. Some of these are real similar.
Okay, these two right here, right? So the council appreciation expense and appreciation expense, right?
Right.
But you're gonna subtract the number from the initial.
No.
Don't subtract out.
Take one of them.
Oh,
That's your new appreciation.
oh, gotcha.
Now later, you will add it to accumulated appreciation. Accumulated means we add every year together. But yeah. Those are easy. Same thing.
Appreciation entries are easy. That's the next couple. Okay, you already got them all down. We can start again. Say, how do you do it? Okay. As I know you are getting more.
All right, so. What's it? Under.
I know we're gonna have one.
Yeah, that's why I did catch. Okay, under, like they had.
We could use any kind of no carbon test.
Making sure.
Yes.
Good try. Some tests I do, no card or half a page or whatever. Here was problem 2, more examples if you need them.
We'll probably be out there a while.
A few of you have already finished, so I'll give you a couple more minutes. If you're live streaming today, which I know Courtney always does, and a couple more, there's 3 or 4 absent today. That's normal here. Well, let's go ahead and look at these, folks. I want you to get good at these. And I want you to get understand what we're doing. We're on the accrual basis of accounting. All right. This insurance expense had not been recorded during the month of whatever month it is. And we've got a big asset on our books of what, 7,200? We don't make this adjustment, we'll always have that 7,200 on our books. But it's not an asset anymore because we used it. We used 6,600 of it, we put it into the expense. All right, that was your first one. And your second entry was your supplies. Now, if you look over, how much supplies do you have? In your unadjusted trial balance, how much supplies do you have?
1980.
All right, that supplies you had bought. Your debit supplies you had credit cash. That was during the regular accounting period, which is usually a month. Any business of any size should have an accounting period of a month. Some might do a quarter, but I had a tax business for a couple of years, and I would have people bring in shoeboxes full of receipts and bills. And no, I'm not gonna do a year's bookkeeping. You take these home and you sort out your revenue for all 12 months. You sort out all your expenses for 12 months. And I'll get the dates when you bought your equipment and vehicles and so forth. But you sort out your revenue. You sort out your expenses. Maybe I can do your taxes. You know, then just bring it in the shoebox.
Anything you're supposed to do on the word.
It was.
I said anything you're supposed to do on the word.
Yeah, and I wouldn't do it. I'd have time. I couldn't. I didn't have time. I'd charge them too much for your bookkeeping. So, anyway, I've had to work backwards sometimes. I know superintendent of the school system called me in to audit books of a high school and of an elementary.
when I audited books at that high school, bunch of things they'd done wrong. A lot of, they cashed a lot of checks for parents, there were bad checks. And they didn't trace it down, take it back out of revenue. Bad check, you could take back out of revenue somehow or another. There had been a break-in and a robbery. Didn't know how much money they lost in that robbery. So, because they didn't keep them records. Okay? But that system had 23 schools in it, elementary, high school, you know. And I got an assistant superintendent. We came up with 24 things that all secretaries or bookkeepers of each school had to do. They'd never done a bank reconciliation. 4 or 5 years. They didn't know how much money was in the bank, how much was bad, how much was good. So they do that.
All right. Now this third one and fourth one, it doesn't matter if it's building or equipment. Your debit depreciation expense and your credit accumulated. Now, if you go over there and look at that building. How much is it on the books for? How much is the building on the books for?
The actual building itself or the.
No, the building. How much did it cost? How much?
$87,500.
See, again, this thing won't write. All right, let me bring up my notepad real quick. Now, what was the accumulated depreciation on the books up to this point? The accumulated depreciation was how much? Then that's not the cost of the building. All right, that's what I need. Okay, the cost of the building is 300,000. All right. Now, up to this point, you said accumulated depreciation was 87. All right, now, AD here means accumulated depreciation, not after death. All right, so what's the book value up to this point? What is the book value? 200 and what? 212,450 or something like that. All right, so we'd need to find the book value. Now, if I were asking you to do a balance sheet on this chapter, which you won't have this on your test, you have to show the 300 on the balance sheet minus accumulated depreciation, which is a contra account. You've got to show book value. That's what you add to your assets on the balance sheet, the book value. Now, take this new accumulated depreciation of how much? Now add that 12,000 to what you already had. Add that 12,087 something. What do you get? How much? Now, do you see accumulated depreciation? It means accumulate. We add it on every year. Now the book value is 200,450. That's the book value of your building. You have used it, it's wear and tear, whatever on it. All right. We did that on the building and we did that on the equipment or whatever. All right, but number 5, the number 5 dot, unearned rent as of October 22, 2050. It says unearned rent. You don't want to debit unearned rent and credit rent earned for 2250, do you? It says unearned rent, so you got to subtract. So what is your unearned? What is your revenue? When you subtract, what do you get? All right. Sometimes it will tell you rent earned or it will tell you unearned, like expired, unexpired, used, unused. Be careful with those terms. So rent revenue is 45 and your unearned rent, you take out 45. That will leave you what they gave you. Okay, the 22, whatever. Okay, and then we had accrued salaries and wages. Here it's a one-liner. You don't have to figure out nothing. You just debit what? What do you debit?
Salary,
And credit?
salaries.
Fees earned, but not billed. It just flat out tells you. So you debit what? And credit what? All right, if you missed over 2 of those, you need to study and to practice. Or if you just got 4 of them, you didn't get 7 finished at the time we had. You need to practice. Okay? And you've got plenty of time to do that either. Now, I know all of you are starting out with the name today. Don't bring it down on the test. Okay? And you're doing an A work on all your homework. Check on secondary. So don't bring that down on the test. So, if I ask you who wants to make 100 on a test, all of you want to make 100. But how many of you are willing to work hard for that 100? Will you work hard for it? Or will you study 10 minutes and say, God, I gave you a lot? You know? All right, you wouldn't do that, would you? No. All of you would. All right. Anyhow, but now some people think studying. Now, rule of thumb, when I took accounting, this is what the professor said. He said, I don't know if this is a good rule of thumb or not. It depends on what we're born with and how fast we pick up things. And if you had bookkeeping in high school or not, that helps some of you. But he said, for every hour you spend in class, you should spend 3 out of class studying that subject. Have you heard that before, Doug? All right, so we supposed to spend 3 hours a week in this class, an hour and a half, 2 days a week. That means you only 9 hours each week out of class. 9 hours on the average. Okay. But now some of you pick up things faster. Okay. It won't take you 9 hours. A couple of you might study 100 hours, that still won't help. I don't know. I hope that's not the case. That's not the case with you, is it, Margot? Okay, we're going to practice one more and we'll call it a day. Now we're going to go over and practice, that was 5A. We're going to go over and practice 3A. There's just 5 of those. Now let's see how fast you can record those. 3A on page 149. Again, you have the unadjusted trial balance. You have 5 bullets there, I guess. The first one is fees earned but not billed. Now, see if you can take those away and do those 5 as fast as you can. County don't make everybody sad, but it makes one student hear a whistle.
Oh, sorry.
So they gave us 18,000.
See, a lot of you got more confidence as well for this whole right here, right? My accounts.
We can
I can,
unpay.
I know, and account receivable credit.
Credit visa.
Either, okay.
We received 18,000.
We have 18,000. So that's up.
Yeah, so we have. We can still provide.
What's this case? I think it's under.
Most everybody has 4 finished, so. No.
Okay, I think y'all had more confidence on those. And with studying, your confidence will grow. I've had students say, I studied too much. Is there such a thing as studying too much?
Overthinking, yeah.
Thing?
You start overanalyzing stuff and then you think wrong, you think wrong.
It's possible, but in a way, you can't overstudy. Just learn something better. Okay, but if you overthink it, all right, let's look at these real quick. I guess this was number 3, was it? All right, on the first one, on bill fee, 7,300. $80, whatever, that was pretty easy. Debit your fees, accounts receivable, credit fees earned. Supplies expense, supplies on hand was 20-some hundred. You had to subtract, didn't you? So unused supplies was 20-some hundred. Used supplies is 13,000 something. Then you had the old depreciation entry, which is always the same. Debit your expense, credit your accumulated. If you miss this one on the test, I will probably throw a book at you when I give you a test back. Okay? All right. The next one was on our fees. I was telling Margot, they gave me too many words for that 16 something. They could have easily said $16,500 on our fees had been earned. All right. But they give you a lot of words, so you had to sort it out. Debit unearned fees and credit fees earned. And then the last one, wages not paid, $38.80, debit to wage expense and credit wages payable. Okay, we reviewed today the accounting equation. We didn't review some terminology from chapter 1. Now, we reviewed a little bit of the balance sheet, income statement, and capital statement. We reviewed journal entries for chapter 2. We've done all we can on chapter 3 for adjusted entry. So on your test, I guess is 5 problems. The income statement, the balance sheet, and capital statement is 3 separate problems. So to put it in one, journal entries is a problem. And you may have 2 little short problems on adjusted entries. But that's your problem. You have a few multiple choice. So okay, let's call it a day. Done it this weekend.
So you got the income statement first, the capital statement.
Yeah. Have to do that order.
Yeah, the reason
Yeah, so we have to subtract. We still have to provide.
Right.